Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our community discussion around testing. We'll get started here in just a second with Lisa. She'll kick us off, and then we will move over to the Lean Coffee portion, where all of us will have the opportunity to propose topics. We'll vote on those topics, and then we'll spend the rest of the time discussing those. We do follow the Chatham House rules, so you can use the information that you learn here. I just ask that you do not attribute it to any one person or organization. If you have not, the 2023 State of DevOps report came out in October. If you haven't downloaded it yet, I encourage you to do that. You can share that link with your friends, families, and so on. So thank you all for being here. And, if it's your first time or it's your 20th time, just want to kind of put this quote that Nathan adds is, all participation is being a part of this conversation. So if you're listening, if you're speaking, either way, you're a part of the conversation today, and just thank you for being here. And so if it's your first time, it's totally okay just to listen as you kind of get used to the format. So with that, I am now going to pass it over to Lisa Crispin, who is an independent consultant, an author, and maybe more dear to my heart, she's a DORA guide. I have just learned so much from her over the last, year and a half. I have read her books, and I've learned a ton from reading her books. I think the way they're written, it's very easy to consume and kind of understand in my context. And I think what's been really great is she has reached out to her testing community and brought, that community into the DORA community, which we're all one community. And I'm really appreciative for you bringing us all together, helping us work together, learn together. And with that, I will pass it to you, Lisa.
All right. Well, thank you for letting me kick off this Lean Coffee and with some of my thoughts on testing around the DevOps loop. And hopefully you'll contribute yours in the discussion to follow. So if you were to search in your favorite search engine for the DevOps model or the DevOps loop, you'll see something like this. It might be different colors, but they all have a test phase or stage in them. And that's puzzling to a lot of us, because I think what they mean here is, we're going to do continuous integration and those are the automated tests, but it certainly gives a wrong idea, because testing happens all the way around the whole software development life cycle. And DevOps culture is what enables the collaboration that makes it work. So Dan Ashby, a few years ago, 2016, he took that idea on and created what he called his continuous testing loop, which was way better. So it shows that testing truly is an activity that happens throughout software development. And we like this a lot, but Janet Gregory, my partner in crime, and I felt like there's just a little too much emphasis here on building, coding, merging, such like details, or branching and stuff. So Janet, and I credit Janet with this holistic testing approach, because she really had the idea. She's my idea person. So she took it one step further without so much emphasis on the details of building, and came up with this holistic testing model. So this is the model with some examples of the types of testing activities at each one of these stages in software development. And those are just examples. There are many, many testing activities, and every context is different. And the reason that Janet came up with the term holistic is, well, the term continuous testing got hijacked to mean only the automated tests that run in continuous integration. And let's face it, what does Agile mean these days? We're just, sad, because our whole brand is Agile testing books, etc. But holistic, it brings in the idea that the whole team does these activities together, and that we do it through the whole software development life cycle. So we like that term, and nobody had already hijacked it for something else. When we think of testing from a holistic point of view, we realize there are a lot of different types of testing. So it's an infinite loop, but probably we're going to start with the discovery. We have an idea. Business has an idea. Let's look at that idea. Does it make sense? And then we move into these other stages, and a stage may go quickly or it may take a long time, and we'll pause between the stages. We don't want to gate or hand over, but we want to pause and think, oh, have we worked out this idea well enough that we're ready to start thinking about the risks and break it into stories to start developing, or are we ready to dive deeper into the understanding? And we may get to a stage and go, you know what, we didn't have the right understanding. We need to go back to the planning stage and brainstorm more about risks. So there's no rules here. It's just to reflect what happens and think about the testing we may need to do at each time. So both sides are essential to successful continuous delivery. The left side has the more obvious testing activities like risk assessments, guiding coding with business-facing tests as in behavior-driven development, test automation, testing at the story and feature level. But it's less obvious to some people that a lot of testing is still going on the right side of that DevOps loop. So let's focus on the right side, being the less obvious one. So we've written code, we've deployed it to a development environment, a test environment, or production environment, wherever. Janet separated deployment out on the model because that strong deployment pipeline is so important to continuous delivery and success. So when we get to this stage, we see a lot of automated testing activities, but also a lot of human-centric ones, things that need our critical thinking and interaction, like exploratory testing, accessibility testing. And there are also a lot of quality attributes like performance, load testing, stability, recovery, reliability. We have to remember to test those. A lot of teams get so focused on functionality, they forget these quality attributes that are so important to our customers from their perception of quality of our product. And because with our technology today, we have release strategies like blue-green deploys, release feature toggles, canary releases, etc. We can test in production safely. And that's really important because our test environments never look like production. So it's great to have that ability to, before we turn something on for the customers, we can test it in production. And once we're in production, we can see what our customers are doing. And of course, we could do this in a test environment as we're testing as well. So back in the planning part on the left side of the loop, we thought about what instrumentation we needed, what telemetry do we need to capture so that we can monitor and observe what customers are doing. How are the customers using the product or the change that we just put out there? Can we detect errors faster than the customers see them and fix them in some way, revert or fix them before they cause customer pain? And if something unexpected happens, because it always will, we don't know what will happen in production, can we ask questions of the production system and analyze what happened without having to go back and add more telemetry to our code and redeploy to production? To me, that's the acid test for observability. And then we take what we learn from all this observing and what changes do we need to do next? What hypotheses can we create? How are we going to measure whether our changes are successful? So to sum it up, the left side is about preventing defects in the code. The right side is about observing, fixing those defects that escape to production as quickly as possible. It's slower feedback, it's more expensive, but if we built in the right telemetry and have good infrastructure, we can respond quickly to problems. So we'll have the confidence to do those frequent deploys and releases and continuous delivery. And no matter what your role or specialty, you can get involved at every stage. So that's so important to collaborate together on everything. And I find in my experience, testers, we're really good at, in general, it's a broad generalization, but we're good at spotting anomalies. We look for patterns. We're good at identifying risks. And on the teams I've worked on, it's often a tester who notices in the dashboards, hey, there's something weird going on in production. So testers need to be involved, but everybody needs to be involved everywhere. So it's all about getting everyone engaged. So when I talk to people about holistic testing, I say, get together and talk. What does quality mean to your team, to your organization? What are your quality goals? Are you committed to achieving those goals? And that's the first step to success with this. And how will we get the whole team engaged on that?